Great morning, great morning, great morning. I am Nicole D. Jones, and I am just happy and grateful for another day. I'm happy and grateful for life. I'm going to tell you every week I don't take days for granted. I don't take life for granted. I don't take you for granted. So I'm happy and I'm grateful for you. And I want to remind you that you are healthy, you are wealthy, you are prosperous. Everything that your hands go to touch, that it must, it shall, and it will manifest, prosper, and grow great things because you are great. You're created out of greatness, you're created out of perfection, but we are not expected to be perfect in this journey, but we are expected to continue to strive and walk out our purpose. Okay, you are purpose. The reason that you were born, on the day and the time that you were born, was purpose. Your purpose began before this earth began. And I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it till we have the faith to believe it and get past the belief and know it so that we can walk in it. Okay? This journey moves in seasons. And all we have to do is figure out what part of our purpose fits in this season. All right. So when I say this, I'm not trying to discredit anyone who says, I'm trying to figure out my purpose. No, you are purpose. You're trying to figure out what part of you fits in this season. All right. So it's Meal Prep Monday, and y'all listen. Oh Lord. So I had something I wanted to share, and I want to tell you because I'm in this space where I'm understanding. No, I'm not even gonna say understanding. I know at this point of my journey that life is simple. I know it. All right. I have faith in it. I believed it, but now I know it. Okay, life is simple, but like I say, what's simple to do is also simple not to do. It's this journey, it's these seasons that we're trying to figure out so that we can figure out our purpose and how it fits in these journeys. So at this point, I know it. At 52, it took me this many years, but I know it. So I stand 10 toes down on it. And in this space, like I started talking to y'all, I'm trying to understand, like, why the journey feels like such a struggle sometimes. Y'all forgive me. Let me turn this air on because now I'm having a hot flash with this thick coat on. But anyway, it's gonna come and go. So it's like, what is it? Because if I believe that we're supernatural in this natural space, if I believe that we're a trichotomy, if I believe that we're triune beings, if I believe that we're spirit with soul in this flesh, if I believe that our first citizenship is kingdom, then I have to learn how to walk through this process supernaturally in this natural space. So where I've landed and what my rabbit hole is this spirit of pride, this spirit of fear, and now this spirit of victim. Okay? We don't wrestle with flesh and blood. So we've got to learn that we're heaven on earth. So we got to learn how to be supernatural naturally. Okay? So I've been on this and I've been studying and I've been looking into it. And this is what, because this is another thing. And I can't naturally or say that I can biblically back this up. But here's the thing. This is what made me start thinking about this, and then I'm gonna go into what I have. If Lucifer, if Satan was Lucifer, and what got him kicked out was pride, and we're born in sin, then we all wrestle with pride. So even if you were a sinless natural person, you just in your everyday in this journey, you did no wrong. You're still a sinner. So that tells me that there are just some things that we all are going to wrestle with because it was the fall of man. Pride, we all have it. Okay, we may not, and pride is not just being arrogant, it's not being proud. Like I've told y'all, the flip of it is false humility. You could be the nicest person and be telling people, no, it's okay. And in your head, you like, that heifer, that's false humility. And the base of that comes from pride. So we all wrestle with a spirit of pride. We all wrestle with the spirit of fear. If we did not, then our natural bodies would not go into flight or fight. Period. Okay? We've got to start recognizing these things spiritually. And we all wrestle with a spirit of victim. We all have been a victim. Nicole, I don't walk around a victim. I know what's going on. I own my stuff. Okay. Anytime your little feelings hurt and you like, why me? That why me? Those two little words. They're rooted in a spirit of victim. All right? I'm saying this because we've got to get to a place where we're not offended by these things, but we can see it. We can understand that none of us are exempt from it so that we can deal with it. So here's the thing, Meal Prep Monday, that was a whole lot, right? I don't know about y'all, but it's like I have been dealing with those three spirits. And this is the thing, when you begin to recognize it, don't think that Satan ain't going to attack you with it. But remember, everything happens for you, not to you. So even when you see someone murmuring, complaining in your head, you be like, oh, Lord, they got such a victim spirit. It ain't for you to deal with their spirit. It's for you to deal with you. Okay? Because spirit recognize spirit. So let's not get on that. You know, we get so when we see it about someone else. We see it because it's in us. So here's the thing. This is what I want y'all to think about this week. I want you to understand, because, you know, we talk about emotional intelligence, right? EI. But I want to talk about emotional intelligence spiritually first, because remember, we're supernatural in this natural space. So everything, it happens in our spirit. That's where our imagination is. It manifests naturally. So we got to understand emotional intelligence spiritually. All right. So it isn't just about self-awareness. It's spiritual awareness of your emotional responses. Okay? So emotional intelligence spiritually, it's about becoming aware of your emotional responses. Here's the thing. We got to have the ability, so we got to learn how to discern our feelings and why. All right? Why are we feeling something? That's spiritual discernment. And we all have it. Okay? We all have spiritual discernment. All right? So we've got to learn how to discern our soul state. What are we doing in this natural space? We got to work out our own soul salvation. So everything that we're going through, we've got to understand in the spirit, we got to discern where our soul is at. All right? We're trichotomy. Remember that. All right? So here's the thing. We got to learn how to regulate our emotions so that we can stay aligned with the Spirit of God. That's self-governing. Okay? What did I tell y'all? Self-control is the best control to have, because when you can control yourself, you can control everything around you. We got to learn how to empathize with others without losing our identity. What is that? Can we have some compassion? Can we have some Jesus compassion? Can we be Christ-like with our compassion? This is all a part of emotional intelligence, all right? And then you got to choose to respond maturely. All right? You have to choose to respond in maturity, not in our survival mechanisms, all right? Naturally, our flesh goes into fight or flight. We've got to choose to respond maturely, okay? Where is this coming from in the word? Proverbs, the book of wisdom. The book of wisdom. All right? Proverbs 16:32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. All right? Really, that's emotional intelligence, y'all. It's when we can rule our spirit. Okay. So, why am I saying all this? Because we want the blessings, we want the rewards, we want the wealth, we want the big house, we want the millions, billions, and trillions that we're just waiting to show up in our account because we deserve it as royalty. We want all these things, but if we don't have the capacity to contain it, it'll kill you. This is why I'm talking about this, all right? Because in this, everything that I do is because I'm just trying to help you, help myself first, to build the capacity to be who we are unapologetically. As our capacity grows, we can be who we are unapologetically in a posture of submission and humility. We don't have to be arrogant and proud. You become arrogant and proud when you don't have the capacity to contain the things that you're trying to get. That's why they don't stick. So listen, and when I say this, when I say being unapologetically you, I'm not saying it in like a prideful independence. Y'all know that, all right? But it's when you can be who you are unapologetically when you are aligned with who you are in kingdom. When you're walking out your initial citizenship. We're kingdom first. We have kingship before we have U.S. citizenship. Okay? So when you're able to walk that out, you can be who you are unapologetically. So how are we going to build our capacity through our minds, through our meal plan? What is meal plan? Mindset, education, accountability, lifestyle. So I'm going to stay on this probably till I ain't got no more breath in my body. Romans 12:2. Okay, we got to renew the mind. Everything starts with the mind. We know this journey lets us know that the mind is the battlefield. But I told y'all, it's also the building field. All right? So your mind is also the building field. That's why we got to renew our mind. We got to put more emphasis on the building, more emphasis on the imagination than we do the fight. All right. So how do we do that? We got to shift our reactions to reflection. We've got to shift our reactions to reflection. When your natural self want to cut a donkey, go to your supernatural self, because that's who you are. Oh, Lord. We have to use self-inquiry. What do I mean? What truth am I resisting because of fear, pride, or pain? So when something starts going on, don't become fearful. Don't become proud. Don't become the victim. Because life happens for you, not to you. Start looking at that situation and ask yourself, what truth am I resisting? Because of fear? Because I'm afraid? Because I'm too proud? Or because I just don't want to feel the pain of this? Y'all got to put your big girl panties on and your big boy britches on, all right? We got to recognize triggers. And when we recognize them, stop looking at them as threats, but start looking at them as teacher. Triggers are my teacher. They're not my threat. Triggers teach me. My triggers don't threaten me. See, renewing your mind, okay? And you gotta, what I tell y'all, the words we speak. So we gotta remove the victim language, all right? They made me feel like that. You made me feel this way. You shouldn't have made me mad. No, take ownership of you. Oh, Lord. I choose to feel. I chose to be mad, but now I choose to feel different. So I'm not going to allow you to anger me because I'm weak in anger. So I choose to feel joy in this. I choose to feel joy. So while you throwing that plate at me, I'm going to dodge it, and I'm going to remove myself from your toxicity because I choose to be joyful. Nicole, that sound crazy. Okay. He take the crazy thing, the foolish things to confound the wise, right? So here's the thing. Choose joy. Why do I say joy? Because the joy of the Lord is my strength. It's a choice. All right. How did this tie into the neuroscience? Each time you pause to reflect instead of react, your brains your brain begins to strengthen those neural pathways. Remember, I told you your brain is just like a highway. There are roads, okay? When you've lived in a traumatic place for so long, it takes too much time and energy to erase that. That street will never go away. Okay? But what you're doing is you're creating new patterns and you're creating new paths. So the longer you stay on that one, this new road will become longer and it'll become wider and it'll minimize the other one. That's what we're trying to do, okay? So when we reflect instead of react, this is what it does. All right? It creates more neural pathways of self-control. All right. That happens in your prefrontal cortex. So this is all brain matter. And what does it do? It weakens fear-based patterns. Where do those patterns live? In your brain. It's in the amygdala. I don't know how to say it. Amygdala. All right. This is all your brain. This is the natural part of us. Remember, we got a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. This is where we have to rewire the conscious mind. What is the E? What education are we doing? We have to learn the laws of the spirit and soul. Y'all do know that there are spiritual laws. Okay, there's laws of the spirit, there's laws of the soul. So you gotta understand spiritual laws. Y'all know there's a law of identity, there's a law of dominion, there's a law of agreement. Read your Bible. In order for you to be supernatural in this natural space, everything we see naturally is supernatural. So just like there are courts, there are judicial systems, there are courts of heaven. Understand the laws. All right. What is the law of identity? The law of identity, you manifest from who you believe you are. What is the law of dominion? You cannot rule what you refuse to confront. What is the law of agreement? You empower what you emotionally agree with. All right. You got to study both scripture and emotional literacy. This is the thing. We've got to know these things supernaturally, all right? Why? Because we have to know how emotions communicate and how they connect with internal agreements. I'm sharing all this because I want y'all to understand we are not failures out here. This is a fixed fight and we win. But when we start going through these cycles, we try to break the cycles outward in. So if you have a habit, you try to stop it outward in. I'm not going to smoke anymore. But if you don't deal with the heart work, which is the hard work, which is internal, as soon as life pops off, nicotine gonna call you. All right. So listen, You got to know these things. You got to learn learn to name the spirits that jack you up emotionally. Whatever takes you off your emotional balance. Everything is a spirit. We are a spirit. Spirit of fear, spirit of pride, spirit of victimhood. See, we gotta learn to name it. You can't, what do we always say? When it's a plus thing, I'ma name it and claim it. You got to name it and claim it on both sides. All right. What does accountability look like? You have to want wise reflection, spirit of wisdom, spirit of knowledge, spirit of understanding. You have to have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to defeat these things. All right. But you got to want it. You got to want it. Know that pride, listen, the spirit of pride, what the spirit of pride wants to do is isolate you. Wants to isolate you. So for your internal people, want to keep you set apart. For the external, want to keep you separate where you can't open your mouth and ask for help. That's the spirit of pride. The spirit of pride wants to isolate, to destroy your destiny, okay? The spirit of fear wants you to hide. The spirit of victim wants you to blame. But guess what? Accountability heals all three. That's why accountability is so important. All right. So you got to surround yourself with emotionally mature, spiritual filled voices. Oh, Lord. But guess what? When you do that, you have to allow them to call out your blind spots. Period. Now, they should be calling out your blind spots with grace. But some of y'all know you're past being coddled. Y'all don't want me as accountability because I don't coddle. All right. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Good old book of Proverbs 27:6. But this is the thing in your accountability, and this is why your circle and what you surround, what you listen to. See, I'm dead wrong just listening to Silk 330 this morning. I just filled myself up with Jaheim and anyway. But listen, you got to know your surrounding. Okay. Real talk. I was just joking. I really was listening, but you have to know your surrounding. You have to know your safe place. All right. Because this is the thing. You have to be willing to practice emotional honesty in safe spaces. So you have to have the mentors, you have to have the coaches, you have to have the prayer partners. All right. Lifestyle, the L. You've got to be willing to do this daily, all day, every day. Okay. You got to, your life, listen, you've got to create routines. You've got to create habits. You've got to create rhythms because everything is energy, vibration. You've got to create these things, but they have to be anchored in truth. All right? They have to be, and we got to walk it out. So what does that look like? I done told y'all, affirmations, journaling. You got to learn to confess. And when you confess, go into prayer. You've got to be intentional to make intentional time with your Father, Abba Father. For some, it's hard because we have not all had a relationship with our dad naturally. Okay, that would glorify what Abba Father wants us to have with him. So some, it takes more. It takes that willingness to want to get to know him. You cannot know you without knowing who created you, period. All right? So you have to be willing to do this. All right? Journaling, it's for emotional check-ins. It's for you to be able to check your emotions daily. All right? That's why it's good to write it out. It's also good to write it out voices versus just speaking it out, because you're activating your five senses. Confession and prayer, God help me. Don't let pride stop you from confessions, because what activates the power are your words. And you got to get affirmations, but let your affirmations be rooted in your true identity. Find affirmations of you in the word of God. Who does God say you are? Not your ex, not your mama, your daddy, your friend, or your enemy. Who does God say you are? That's where you go. You don't know? Google God. Who do you say I am? And scriptures will come up. At least 40 of them will. I did it before. All right? So you have to, in this time, allow grace and growth for yourself, not perfectionism. I'm not telling you to go and be perfect. We're striving for perfection, but every day be purposeful of knowing who you are. Listen, last thing, dang, it's 10:28. How do we confront these three spirits? I'm going to go through this real quick, all right? I'll put this up. The spirit of the victim, the root of it is shame and helplessness. What does it sound like? I can't help it. Life happens to me. How do you counteract that voice? You take ownership. Ownership and empowerment is what counteracts the victim spirit. All right? John 5:8. All right, if you need that. Emotional intelligence, what does that look like? That's when you would say, like, I acknowledge my pain, but I don't want to stay in it. Okay? Spirit of pride, the root of it is fear of vulnerability and rejection. What does it sound like? I don't need help. I'm fine. All of that is what the spirit of pride sounds like. How do you counteract it? Humility, willing to be teachable. All right, that teachability and that humility is what counteracts that. My boy James 4:6. God resists the proud, but he give grace to the humble. How does that work in your emotional intelligence? Listen, it works with your emotional intelligence when you can stay humble even when you're triggered. Okay, because if not, ego will block love. Spirit of fear, where does it root? It's a lack of trust in divine protection or identity. What does it sound like? What if I fail? What if they leave? What ifs? All right. What counteracts it? Perfect love and sound thinking. 2 Timothy 1:7. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. Ladrina just told us that last Monday. All right. 2 Timothy 1:7. How does that help with emotional intelligence? Because it's 10:30. It means choosing love over control and curiosity. You choose love over control. Choose love over curiosity. Choose love over anxiety. All right? So we got to recognize these emotions of the spirit that's influencing us, how we act or react. Then we have to reframe it by our thoughts and our understandings. Then we got to replace it with new beliefs aligned with God's design, with your original DNA. And then we reinforce it daily. All right. That's the meal plan, y'all. So listen, because it's 10:31 and now I'm over my time. I want you to stay focused. I want you to stay humble. I want you to stay positive. I want you to go back to this. All right. I don't promote me, but you got to go back to the YouTube today. I am Nicole D. Jones. Go back, write it down, write down those spirits, write down those scriptures, and go get it for you. Learn the laws. That's just telling you where to look, but do it for you. Because you, listen, you're healthy inside. Your wealth, you're wealthy because wealth comes from within you. And you're prosperous because you're purposed. That's why you got to stay focused. That's why you stay humble. That's why you stay positive. This is why I say these things every week, because you are the best version of you unapologetically. No one can do you better than you. And you are relevant, you are necessary, you're needed. Your legacy, your name will be imprinted and left in this earth, past your friends, family, and enemies. Okay? Because you are who you are. So we gonna get this thing and we gonna get it together. So again, I am Nicole D. Jones, and I want you to continue to have a fantabulous rest of the day. Smooches.